What is going on, guys? It's Kevin here with ModMyMods, and it is time for the ModMyMods news update. Thanks for everybody joining me this afternoon. I hope and wish you a very happy new year. Hopefully 2021 isn't going to suck as bad as 2020, and hopefully we can, move past all this garbage that we've been having to deal with recently. That being said, I hope everybody has been enjoying themselves for the past couple days. I hope you guys had a wonderful holiday. Whether you celebrate Christmas or don't or whatever it might be. I hope you guys had a little bit of time to yourselves, a little bit of relaxation time to regroup, and time to get back into the swing of things. So, a couple updates here at ModMyMods ourselves. We are working our damnedest to basically make sure that we get our product in and get it out as fast as we possibly can. I know that we've had some delays on certain products that are coming in. I know that we have delays on items that are coming from overseas. I know that there has been delays on getting panels done. Basically, what it comes down to is that this year we're going to try our best to basically get all of the loose ends tidied up and squared away. That way, we can offer the best service and the best pricing and the best parts when it comes to water cooling and PC parts and accessories. So, that being said, what we're going to do for the ModMyMods news update, I put a poll out there today on Twitter and on Facebook to see what people basically gauge people's interests to see what day might be better than another, or if we're just going to do one day streaming or whatever it might be. And so far, the consensus is that Tuesdays at about 4 o'clock, right now, is the best time for everybody to take a look and to join us and to be a part of the show. So that being said, I think what we're going to do is we're going to dial it back from 2 days a week to 1 day a week. It'll be on Tuesday, same time, same great place, right here with the beard himself. That's right. So we'll be doing it Tuesdays at 4 o'clock, just like we have been. There will be no Friday show, but that also gives me the ability to focus on the show a little bit more than just putting some stuff together. And maybe what I can do is focus more on having, guest appearances and maybe a little bit more entertaining, stuff that's going on. I love updating you guys and, telling you guys about some of the things that I've been working on and some of the great things I found on the internet, but maybe we can do more. I don't know if you guys want to see, a little bit of gameplay of something that we're playing, or whether it be, a little quick tutorial on how to do something in some game or in some program, or benchmarking, or whatever it might be. I kind of leave it up to you guys to see what you want from me. I will cater to you, the people, right? So that being said, Tuesdays, 4 o'clock, that's what we're going to be doing. If you guys have any sort of suggestions, complaints, concerns, let me know. Send me an email, message, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, any of that good stuff. And we will go from there and see what we can come up with for you guys. Because, again, we're trying to make it bigger and better this year. 2020 sucked. Let's make 2021 awesome. So, without further ado, let's hop on in here and see what fun things that I have found on the internet today. And we'll kind of jump back and forth a little bit here. So, let's get going. We were talking about Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and all that type of stuff. I just wanted to make sure that you guys know, if you are trying to stay up to date with us and any of the things that we are doing, any of the mods or the builds, or even our friends' mods or builds or anything like that, and I even throw in there a few funny memes occasionally, go to our Instagram page. We would love your support and your follows and your likes and your shares and all of that stuff, whether it be on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, any of that. We appreciate it, and that's honestly the best place that you can go in order to get the most up-to-date information from us. Well, I mean, besides messaging me directly, but beside the point, you get what I'm getting at here. We have been posting a couple fun little things that we've been doing over the past week and the past holiday vacation. This being one of them, which is actually that is a 200 millimeter radiator. Yeah, it's huge, and it's like that frickin' thick. It's massive. It's like a almost 3.5 inches thick or something like that. But our good friend Timmy, PC Works, who's all the way over in California, ended up sending us some Thermaltake 200 millimeter fans, which are going to work out perfectly into the retro player, is what we're calling it, or that's at least what I've come up with for a name for it. But that is actually one of the builds that we're putting together. Everything when it comes to any of our builds have pretty much been delayed. It doesn't matter who you are. Travis is in the chat here. He will attest himself. There has been delays regardless of who you are, where you're from, and what you're trying to get. Whether it be components or water cooling parts or accessories or anything like that, it is just to be honest with you, it's a shit show when it comes to getting parts and having them come in on time. So this is a very delayed project that we are working on, and that also goes in hand with the Star Wars computer that we're putting together with AMD and Aorus. This is actually just one of the models that I'll show you. I'm not going to show you any of the other build stuff just yet because we're still working on it. But that is actually a model that'll be going inside of the PC there, which is one of the T-47 airspeeders from the Battle of Hoth, which is going to be the theme of this build. So, honestly, the best way to keep on top of it, keep track of everything that's going on, is to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and we will bring you all of the updates and pretty much anything that's going on these social media platforms. We'll also be obviously doing the update every Tuesday at 4 o'clock, and you guys can hang out here with me, and we'll chit-chat and, talk about things that we're doing. So, let me address the chat because I know that I haven't said hello to everybody yet. Maven, thanks for being here. Brandon, sir, I will definitely tell Joe said hello. Mr. Kevin James Daily TPB, what's up, my friend? Kevin, Canadian Kevin. Sir, how are you? Appreciate you being here. Mr. Van Guth himself. Nick, what's up, man? Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. And Travis, as always, your relentless support is fantastic. I love you, buddy. I hope everything goes well, especially with all of the new endeavors that you guys are going, you and the family and everything like that. So, but again, thanks to everybody for being here. So enough with our Instagram page. Let's take a look at Zotac. Zotac posed this question where they said, measure twice, and what's your next move if you would take this, and what's the next move you would take in this situation? And basically, well, funny enough, this is not how they phrased it on Twitter, because what they said was, if you got this graphics card and it didn't fit, what would you do? And my response was, well, basically rip out that AIO, that's kind of silly, and cut the case up. Because mod it. Make it fit. Because if you ain't got room, well, just jam it on in there. Which is great. And the funny part about that is, well, we actually had a customer of ours. Let's see if I can go and find it quickly for you here. Christopher Waldo there ended up stuffing one in that exact same case. So it does fit. Just barely. But it does actually fit, which is kind of cool. But yeah, get rid of that silly AIO and cut the case. That's what I would say. Let's see. Robert, what's up, man? Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. You're sending the heat killer. Okay, cool. I will let Brony know that you're sending us the block. I want to see it too, so I'm interested to see what actually comes of that, because if you guys don't remember from the previous couple shows that we had, Bobby, Robert, Mr. Cortez ended up having a heat killer block that ended up having like a bunk O-ring or something like that, and it was like just doing a slow, I don't know, like an annoyance drip leak like you have on your hot water tank or something, where it's just annoying enough that it's dripping like once every I don't know, 5 minutes or something like that. But I'm excited to see it. I will let him know. And again, thanks for joining us on the show today, my friend. I appreciate that very much. So again, Zotac did pose this question. I said, still get rid of that AIO, and you make it fit. That's how we do everything, you know? If it's not supposed to go in there, well, then cut it and make it fit. All right, Travis, thanks again for being here, my friend. Keep up the good work like you always do, and we'll catch up with you soon. Greg, our good friend Greg Salazar from YouTube here, is doing some funny posts today, let me tell you what. Especially these past 2 posts that I saw. He's doing a verge off, per se. As you can see, that is way too much thermal paste. No. Oh my god. Jeez. And the funny part about this is that he knows damn well what he's doing. He's just doing it as a joke. It's not real, I promise. He's not actually going to leave it like that. But just so you know. I thought it was kind of funny. And then, can you spot the problem in this? Yeah, basically the CPU screw is missing one right here. Which, you know, theoretically 3 out of 4 isn't terrible, but I mean, it's like, if you had 3 out of 4 lug nuts on your car, do you really want to risk it? I mean, it probably would work to get you home, but I still, no bueno. No bueno on that, that's for sure. So, again, if you guys are bored and want somebody who's very entertaining and actually knows quite a bit about his tech, go give Greg Salazar a follow on Instagram or on Twitter, on Facebook, whatever. He does quite a bit of pretty much a lot of reviews and a lot of build videos and everything like that. So, very good friend of ours, and would appreciate the like, the share, the tweet, the follow, all of that. So, the other thing that I did start to find is that they are coming out with some new products because of CES, right? And because CES is a digital-only show, they have released some cool and interesting little things. Now, this I saw that was on PC Mag. HP Omen is making a wireless keyboard, which is supposed to be a fancy mechanical keyboard. You know, very much. It's obviously a 60%er, but it honestly, I mean, yeah, it's only $100. It's not bad looking. It's just a generic black, like I have here, clicky keyboard, which is great. Nobody's going to complain about that. That's for sure. However, there are a few things that I am going to complain about, and that they list in here that are relatively kind of major things, to be perfectly honest with you. Limited customization. Okay, yeah, sure. So you can't pull off all of the keys and replace them and that type of thing. All right, fine. The wrist rest has pointy corners. And when you look at this photo right here, you can actually see that those are quite pointy. And now I don't know, depending on how you sit and how you type. I don't know anybody that types like this, but maybe you do. That might suit your fancy for this, but for me, who kind of usually has my hand resting on the keyboard there, likes the fact that this, especially this edge here on the corner of this keyboard, is actually it's like chamfered here, so it's nice slope down, so you're not actually just sitting, your hard edge on your hand here. So that is one major downfall of this actual keyboard, which HP, I mean, nobody really enjoys the whole Omen thing. Their HP are trying to make gaming computers, which, all right, their laptops are okay, sure. But, I mean, like, this is a good step in the right direction, but it was like you were that close, and all you had to do was a couple more steps, and then you would have had, like, an actual decent-looking keyboard. Because, I don't mind the looks of it. I think it looks actually pretty dope. However, there are no adjustable feet. So where it is and where it sits, kind of similar to this keyboard here, is where you're at. Now, luckily, this one has multiple adjusting feet on the back of it. However, not having adjustable feet on a keyboard is like probably the most irritating thing that you could possibly have. Because even if you like it that much more higher, that makes a huge difference, especially when you're actually like using it on a daily basis. So, again, it's a very small keyboard. It is a nice looking keyboard, especially for $100. That's not terrible. But there are some other products that are in the same price range that are probably just as good, if not better. The HyperX Alloy is actually pretty cool, and then you can swap this out with the pudding keys, which look dope. And then you also have, where was the other one that I saw? $400. Holy cow. I don't know if I could pay for that. The G513 Carbon is actually a really nice looking mechanical keyboard as well. Again, I'm a very plain Jane keyboard guy. I don't necessarily like all the fancy colors and all the different, you know, your WASD being different colors and stuff like that. Like, I mean, that's not bad, but I'm a plain Jane black guy. So what are you gonna do? Well, I'm not. But I think you understand what I mean. Anyways, so you can actually get this keyboard. Oh, you have to download the Omen Gaming Hub? Okay, no thank you. Never mind. Just get it out. That's a terrible idea. Anyways, $100, not bad. Definitely a good attempt. Almost there, HP. You almost made it. But you came up a little short. I wanted to give a big shout out to our friend Alexandro, I think is how you say it correctly, from Explore Modding, who has been working on this crazy PC that he's putting in for the Cooler Master World Series. I'm pretty sure is what this one is. And he's got it custom painted. It's all custom acrylic done up. I mean, as you can see, doesn't even look like a freaking computer anymore. It looks like a piece of art. But again, he's doing some pretty cool stuff. So if you have a chance and you want to find some really neat stuff that he's doing, check out Explore Modding on Facebook as well as on Instagram. All right. So one thing that I did want to show you guys before, let's see here. So there's two things that recently just came to my attention. First of all, Microsoft Flight Simulator just got a major update, which I know that some of you don't necessarily care for Microsoft, and I understand that. I don't either, you know, in a lot of different cases. However, I was really hopeful that Microsoft Flight Simulator would be a lot better than it actually, you know, was turning out to be. Because they kept running into all sorts of crazy, stupid problems. They would get it fixed, everything would be fine, and then all of a sudden, it wouldn't be fine. Like, the autopilot would take the plane and just meow and drop it out of the plane, or drop it out of the sky. So what let's see if it'll actually work. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna quick swap over here to this. Boom. Okay, so now you guys can actually see my screen here, which that worked out nicely. And I'm going to turn on the audio so you can hear what the heck's actually going on. Because, yeah, I heard you. Sorry, I'm trying to do 8 things at once. My apologies, Boston. Okay, so what I've come to find out is that Microsoft Flight Simulator decided to do a major update. They were like, yeah, sweet, we're going to do all sorts of cool stuff. Right? That's fantastic. Except for they ruined it. Again. So, I don't know if you remember last time I tried to do, I was trying, okay, yeah, we're going to have to slow down and all sorts of stuff. Basically, what was happening is that we were, like, nothing was working. None of the inputs that I was actually giving the plane, especially with the autopilot, were working at all. The flight director wasn't actually acting as the flight director like it should. It was just unbelievable how buggy and crappy of an experience it was. Because at a point in time, the Microsoft Flight Simulator actually did fly pretty well. I'm a huge supporter of X-Plane 11, which is actually the simulator that they use for Boeing and for Airbus and everything like that. That's the actual one that they have in the simulator. And supposedly, Microsoft Flight Simulator is supposed to, like, get somewhere close to compete with that. But, dude, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, don't get me wrong, the outside of the plane looks dope. Oh, it's a little cold out. Probably should turn on those anti-ace. Yeah, alright, whatever. Probably should have done that a while ago, but that's beside the point. So, yes, don't get me wrong, the outside of the plane looks fantastic. It sounds amazing. The clouds look great. But, man, doesn't this thing fly like a giant pile of shit? Like, yeah, it's so upsetting. It really is. So, what is supposed to happen here was, you're 5 miles north. Noli. There's none of that. Okay, flight plan. Boston. Arrival. That's 22 left. Okay, so 22 left. Insert. Bam. Okay, 22 left. We're good. We're going to put that on. We're going to turn off the flight director. All right, cool. So fantastic. Exactly what I wanted to have happen is happening. Freaking-tastic. This is cool. All right, so the plane with the ILS information on and the autopilot on and the approach on, what it's trying to do is it's actually trying to set up the plane to come in on the runway here. Now, the problem is that the flight director, which already had runway 22 left plugged in to actually land, is no longer following that actual path. Okay, perfect. Great. That sounds wonderful. See, now the problem is my altitude was already set for 4,000, so there shouldn't be any discrepancy between that two. As you can see over here, who knows what the hell the flight director is actually doing now, because it's supposed to have followed this path to line it up to actually go to runway 22. Now, that being said, the autopilot is even more broken than it was before. The speed over here, the speed indicator, is also extremely broken. When you actually take off and you start moving, what happens is the speed just kind of goes like this. So you don't actually know how fast you're going, which is kind of fun because then you can go as fast as you want to until the speed indicator actually starts working again. And then it's just magically like overspeed, overspeed, overspeed. And it's like, okay, yeah, all right, I get it now, but you weren't even displaying what the speed was. So what the hell, okay, whatever. So as you can see, it is actually going to follow the path here. It's going to swing me out to the ocean quite a bit, do a big ol' loop around here, which there is the Noli transition there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the flight director on, which again is not correct because the plane should be following this red path right here, which it's not. Fantastic. We're just going to turn autopilot off, give me the controls of the stupid plane, please and thank you, and get out of my life. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's just like, it's like quite possibly the worst flying experience that I've ever had. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do a almost 45-degree bank, which is totally illegal when it comes to the FAA and what they expect you to do. All right, so we're going to now follow this path all the way out to the water here. which we are now above our assigned altitude, which is no bueno. So let's turn that off. Let's turn the autopilot on. Let's turn what? Why? But if I don't have the flight director on, and I just tell autopilot, I should be able to just select the heading here, right? So heading select, okay. And I want you to go that direction. Sweet. As you can see, the plane is doing whatever the hell it wants to do right now, doing the seasick. Oh my god, like what are you doing to me? All right, so I will descend and maintain 3,000 feet. But the whole point of this little rant is that 128.8 for WRJG 9013. All right, I'll contact tower. Oh, almost crashed. Cool. Did you see that stutter? That's awesome. You know it's awesome? Nothing. Nobody likes... Unbelievable. Yeah, that's a big 10-4. All right, so the biggest complaint that I have now that we got all of our radio chatter done with for a second here is that, again, you guys are trying to compete with X-Plane 11, which is buggy as hell. Does not look as good. Don't get me wrong. However, the flying is quite possibly the most enjoyable thing that I think I've ever actually experienced when it comes to a flight simulator. Microsoft is, adamant about how it's just there's certain bugs that are happening, and because it's cross-platform and blah 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 and all of these excuses. It's starting to sound like CD Projekt Red. Jesus, Microsoft, get a grip. Anyways, the flight in this needs to be fixed. I enjoy flying manually just as much as anybody else does. However, when you're doing these long 4-hour to 8-hour flights and whatnot, flying manually is just not an option. Nobody wants to actually sit here and hold the stick for 8 hours. That's how you get carpal tunnel. It's unbelievable. But the fact that this game has been out for how long now? We've been playing it for almost 6 months, right? And they still haven't fixed 90% of what's actually wrong with this stupid game. It seems like the expression of 20 steps forward and 10 steps back is very, very evident in any of the patches and updates that they end up doing. Because they end up fixing a few things here and there, and then they end up borking the rest of it. That being said, I haven't actually been able to show you yet the speed indicator going all wonky and nuts, which I'm really hoping it does actually start to act up here, which it should once you get about 180 knots. Then it'll start to, like I said, it just starts to go all crazy, which is obviously not good, especially when you're trying to figure out what your airspeed is and how fast you're supposed to be going, or what the ideal speed is for landing. So again, I applaud them for adding more things into the game. That's awesome. They didn't update around the Arizona and the desert and all of the the national monuments and stuff like that, and made New York City a little bit better looking, and I think that's cool. Congratulations, guys. Can we fix the problem at hand though, which is this game, or this flight simulator just doesn't fly as well as it should. It's like you buy a Corvette and then you start driving it to realize that, man, this thing actually sucks to drive. And I'm not saying that Corvettes suck to drive. I absolutely love them. However, if you got one and it was awful to drive, you would be pretty pissed. So, I don't know. kind of tough to be happy with like especially if you bought the $120 version of the game. You know, it's kind of hard to be excited to fly. You know, I put together a new PC not too long ago for Cyberpunk 2077, and which is running great, by the way. However, Microsoft Flight Simulator, who's been out longer than that, runs like total trash. And it's not that the actual game itself runs like total trash, it's that the flying itself is total trash. You know? You want to fly around in a Cessna? Great, fantastic, it's fun. No problem. You want to go do some barrel rolls in a Beechcraft or whatever, and that's cool. Just don't expect to do any sort of long distance flights because, well, it broke. Like, real broke. So right now, all of the flight controls, everything like that, is all manual. It's all me flying, which is kind of cool. Now now that I'm getting close to Noli, I am going to turn on the ILS indicators, see where we are relative to the actual runway and where we're going to land. And in theory, and what we're going to try and do, once I line it up here towards the runway here, or get relatively close, as you can see, we are descending slowly here. I am going to try and engage the autopilot and put it in approach mode and see if it'll actually just do the ILS approach. So let's see what happens here. Autopilot approach. Oh, no, don't do that. Okay, let's just do approach mode and see what happens. Which I still do have full control of the airplane, which is cool. So and we are currently flying over, I forgot what city that is. It's north of Boston here. But see, the runway is dead ahead. We're going to be landing on 22 left, so I'm slowing down quite a bit here. I do need to turn on the lights. Oh, they're all on. Good. I guess I never turned them off. Well, hey, whatever. Okay, slow down quite a bit more. Cool. All right.
Cleared to land runway 22 left, WRJG9er13.
All right, here we go. Okay, let's see here. Now I'm gonna put the landing gear down. All right. We're still going a little fast, to be honest with you, even though I have the throttle is 100% back. Like I have no throttle going on right now. And they still haven't fixed the height of the frickin' pilot yet. That's unbelievable. All right, let's see what we got here. Whoa, a little windy there. A little windy. Oh, I am a little high. Man, this is, again, it's very... It's not a very pleasant experience trying to get these planes in here when they're supposed to be doing things that they're not. Like... Hey, Quaqua, give me a second here once I land this thing, if it will actually land, because... There we go, there we go, there we go, there we go, there we go.
60, 50, 40, 30,
Come on now. Come on now. Get... Why are you going... Why? Why? Why off the... There's no reason. I'm not even putting in any sort of input to make you not do that. What the hell? Ooh. Grr. This is an upsetting landing. Considering... Yeah. That was very upsetting. Sorry guys, that was a pretty terrible landing. And I don't think it was anything to do with me, to be honest with you. I know that the wind was coming out of my back corner here at about 6, but that shouldn't have thrown me off course like it did. But what are you gonna do, right? What are you gonna do? All right, I'm gonna follow this. Oops. Exchange the gates. Alright, so that way, huh? And put the flaps back to normal, turn the air brakes off. Sorry, I'm in the middle of turning everything off. Yeah, I gotcha. My goodness. You know, Rig Rally really took on some serious thought this past holiday. Let me tell you what. Everybody here at Mods pretty much is in. I think it's a wonderful idea. It's a very, very good way to get hurt. But I mean, besides that, the risk versus reward, I think, would be totally worth it. So, all right. So as we're taxiing over here to the gates here, let's see. Hakwakwa, is an Elgato card worth buying to record from the same PC, or would Shadowplay be just as good? All right. So with an Elgato card, the thing is that you have to input something into it. You can still use the Elgato card to do like the capture and stuff like that. The live capture, the game capture. But to be honest with you, Shadowplay is probably going to be just as good, especially if you're on a budget. Elgato cards are fantastic if you're using like 2 different computers, which is what we kind of do here. You know, we use 2 different PCs, one for doing the stream and then one for doing the games, right? So if you have a computer that's just doing nothing but gaming, and then you use that as the input into the Elgato card, that's actually the way to do it for streaming. However, for, you know, Shadowplay versus an Elgato card to do the capture and whatnot, I mean, you might take some of the workload off of the CPU and the graphics card and stuff like that. But to be honest with you, I mean, it's going to be about, I mean, obviously a capture card is going to benefit you, but I mean, is it worth the $249? It's pretty much what it comes down to. In our case, yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, as you can see behind me, I got the Torque build. That's what we use to do most of the gaming and stuff like that, and then it just inputs into the Eiskreislauf, which is behind my monitor, actually, that has the Elgato card, and then that's how we output the video games, so. You have a $250 gift card that you won yesterday. Come on now. How come I never win anything? That's actually a pretty good grab, though. So for $250 gift card, that's not bad. Not bad. Let's see here. Why do they even make dual system cases and not include a high-end KVM switch? Yeah, you know what? I agree with you. I agree with you and wholeheartedly. I mean, KVM switches are expensive to be, like, in general. But, dude, you got a $250 for B&H photo? Damn, that's a killer. Wow, that's really good. That's really good. I'd probably buy a lens or something like that if it were me. However, that's me. That's not you. And I understand, because I already have an Elgato card. And you probably need one. Alright, let's line her right up. Let's see if we can get her right on in there. You know what I'm saying? Alright, let's see what we got here. Yeah, down me, I gotta turn a little bit. Yes, that's correct. Yes, I do need to turn a little bit. But see, the problem is that I would typically arrow up. So I would raise, like, my character's seating position in the stupid cockpit. Because I don't know who's 4'5" and flies airplanes. But apparently all of the pilots do in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So, what do you gotta do? Yeah, bring it on in, bring it on in. Yeah, you see me? Oh, yeah, bring it in. Got a little ice on that plane today. And, oh, a little bit farther. Right there. Cool. Alright. That'll do, pig. That'll do. Alright, so then we go ahead and turn those engines off. And then theoretically it should end the simulation. In theory, it should end the simulation. Alright, I'm so freaking done with this garbage. I swear to God. I'm sorry. Pardon my rant. Here it comes. How are you going to make a game like this? Make us wait 20 freaking years. Not even 20 years. It's more like 11 years. You're going to make us wait 11 years and then it's going to suck. All right. End rant. Done. Yes. Continue. Go back. We'll be done here. And the reason that I rant like this is because, well, I have some flight time in this. And it's not like a little. Like, I got 55 frickin' hours in this stupid thing. Flying all over the place. And it's just hot garbage. Okay? It's rough. Alright, anyways, that being said, there are some pretty cool updates. There are some new landing challenges that just came out. However, if you know, want to play a game that's actually relatively buggy or something like that, you could just go play, Cyberpunk, and everything would be great, and everything would suck anyways, and you'd already at least know that it's going to be buggy from the get-go, right? Anyways, that being said, let's see. If you're thinking of using the HP Reverb G2 for a VR flight simulator, don't. High-res and gorgeous visuals and sound. Everything else is garbage. Well, that's good to know. Thank you very, very, very much. I appreciate that. That is actually one of the next things that I probably will be doing or trying to get into is actually VR. Because yes, Flight Simulator in VR is unbelievable. If you even with the garbage graphics that are out now, when it comes to like the what the heck is it called? VTOL, and there's another one that's out. I mean, seriously, that's a good way to lose your lunch if you're not ready for it, Because once you pull back on that stick and you do a nice climb, you're gonna your brain doesn't really know that you're sitting in a chair. That's for damn sure. So, but that's good to know. The HP Reverb, I'll have to take a look at that because I wanted the not the Vive. I was gonna get the Steam one. What the hell is it called? I don't remember what it's called, but the Steam one was the one that I was going to try and pick up. So, speaking of picking things up, if you guys are looking for a cheap yet relatively fast SSD, now it's not crazy fast, but it still is an SSD, and it's a terabyte SSD for under $100, and it's Prime. I think it's Prime. No, it's not Prime, but it's still $85. Get an SSD. It does go 560, so it's not bad. It's not slow by any means, but it's not as fast as the M.2. However, the Crucial MX500 1 terabyte drive, the 2.5-inch drive, is on sale at Amazon for $84.99, so $85 shipped, and you could theoretically get it by Friday if you wanted one. But the other thing that I found that was not a great deal, but yet still on sale, the Asus, the RT, the AX3000, which is the Wi-Fi 6 supporting dual band router, is actually on sale. It's $20 off from Newegg, so $159.99 instead of $179.99. So you could save yourself a little bit of money there. Not a whole lot, but I mean, still save yourself some. And the AX3000 is the one that does the multi-band. So it'll do the 160 band or 160 megahertz up to, what was it? Yeah, sorry, I was reading it right here. Yeah, so it'll do the 160 megahertz bandwidth and the 1024 QAM, which will do the signal speed of almost 3,000 megabits a second, and then 575 on the 2.5 gigahertz. So, you know, not bad. If all that you have is the ability to do Wi-Fi, and you can't run hardline or anything like that, then this isn't a terrible option. You should really invest in a really nice mesh router, would be my suggestion. This $160, router is only going to last. Well, it's not necessarily that it's going to last. It's more along the lines of how well it's going to function for you. So, should I get rid of the spare disk drive and get an SSD, copy its contents to it? Robert, I always think that spinny drives are a terrible idea, except for in one case. When you need to back something up, and you throw it in a little drive like this, boom, right here, yeah, baby, look at that. Yeah, I got an external reader right here. And that's where it sits. It sits right over there, unplugged, not running, with the stuff backed up to it, so that way in, 4 years, when I actually need the stuff or anything like that, you can just plug it back in, turn it on, and you theoretically should have all of your stuff. Now, that should go the same way for an SSD as well. However, SSD have, they have a timeline, because they end up have a length of life, operating lifetime or something like that. So basically, once you get over, I forgot how many hours it is, there's a certain number of hours that once you hit that limit, that's pretty much when the manufacturer says, yeah, okay, now you're playing craps with your SSD, so good luck. It might just brick itself one of these days. So it's it's one of those catch-22s. Again, I always just back everything up to a spinny drive and then unplug it and put it on the shelf, because it's highly unlikely not going to work when you plug it back in, because, well, it's not actually spinning. That's 90% of the reason why spinny disk drives end up dying, is because, well, they're sitting there and they're spinning all the time. Or when they do, are actually active, that's actually obviously making the components being used that are inside of it wear more. Right? So if they're not being used, or not even being powered, that's what it is. Then you can kind of be safe about it without it actually blowing up or anything like that. Let's see here. Let me look at the chat. What are your thoughts on running Wi-Fi routers versus running Cat 6? I will always hardline everything if I humanly possibly can. I just ran a 30-foot line from my basement all the way up to my tallest and farthest away office space in my house, because I ain't playing that game. Wi-Fi works great for a cell phone or a Roku or a Fire Stick, but that's about it. Because especially when you're talking about doing streams, or if you're actually doing downloading or uploading or anything like that, Wi-Fi is so intermittent and can drop out and can do all sorts of things that you don't have to deal with when you're talking about hardline. So I'm always a fan of running Cat 5 or Cat 6. Doesn't matter to me. I think that's hands down probably the best thing to ever do. But Captain, not Nancy, thanks for being here, my friend. I appreciate it. ThoughtFix as well, and Hikwakwa and Bobby, again, everybody that's here, I appreciate you being here and joining us. ThoughtFix, I managed to score a Samsung 970 EVO plus a 2 terabyte NVMe for $249. Wow, wait, you got both of them for $249? Damn. That's not bad. That is not bad at all. That's actually a really good price. So, and ThoughtFix thought it was Right Cycles more than, yes, that's what it is. But basically, when it comes down to it, there is a timeline when it comes to SSDs on either how much. I'm pretty sure it's Right Cycles. You're right. It's how many times things are getting written to the drive or accessed, and over and over and over, and that obviously has a time limit on it. So that's the kind of the major difference between the spinny disks and the SSDs being reliable, I guess you could say. Now, that being said, I have 1 terabyte spinny drives that are still running to this day that I bought in 2006. I'm not going to say that I'm going to trust those. I'm definitely not putting like valuable or vital information on that. Hell no, absolutely not. But I mean, a place to dump stuff, sure. They don't really care about, yeah, all right, that's fine. You know, like, not a big deal to me. So, but again, you also understand that you're playing craps. I mean, you're literally gambling on the drive continuing to work. So, you know, you kind of have to weigh the pros and cons of doing that. So, I use a FireCuda internal 2 terabyte, and I have an external 1 terabyte blue for real backups. Yeah, I mean, that works perfect. The FireCudas are really good. The Western Digital blues, I have a blue, I have 2 golds and a red, and the red ended up dying, which was weird. But the 2 golds are fine. Those were purchased 4 years ago. Still run great. Still run fine. My blue still runs fine. And then I have a Samsung. That's actually what that is over there. That's the drive that still runs. After almost, what is it, 16 years? No, 15 years? Yeah, almost 15 years old. 1 terabyte Samsung drive. But 7,200 RPM, and again, you don't use it for anything major. You just use it for random crap that you need to throw on there quickly to dump off to something else or whatever, to back up somebody's PC quick and then dump it somewhere else. Yeah, it should be fine. Should be fine. Robert, he's got Cat 7 running throughout the house, top speeds. Absolutely. I actually just got green light at my house, which is fiber line, and it's just unbelievably fast. It's 500 down, 500 up. So it's just, yeah. I had to download Tarkov the other day because the boys are getting back into it, and it took me, I don't know, 5 minutes, something like that. It was unbelievable. The SSD was taking longer than the actual transfer, so what are you going to do? My downloads go directly to the CUDA by default since I always move them and then delete them all the time. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. And again, you know, spinny disk is just going to just keep spinning there. It's not going to really do too much until it runs out of its life. So, I actually got 2 of those 2 terabyte Samsungs, one for my VR PC and one for my laptop. Jesus, dude, those M.2s, the 2 terabytes, are freaking awesome. We actually ended up giving my niece and nephew terabyte M.2 drives for Christmas and their birthday, and it's just like, it's so fast, it's so quick, and now you have space for days. So there's definitely the way to go if you have the ability to put an M.2 on your PC. If you want to overdo it, it's SSD on PC, NAS RAID for backups, portable USB disk hanging off the NAS for weekly mirrors in case the whole NAS melts. So, know that 24/7 NAS drive ever... Try it again. That was my best Chewbacca. Ooh la 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 la. Any NAS drive that's running 24/7 basically has a lifespan of 5 years, and that's pretty much about right. I mean, the drives will signal you and tell you when shit's going to hit the fan and they're just starting to degrade, and you really should replace this and that type of thing, which is a great thing to have anyways. And actually, I have a NAS sitting right over here to run the show and everything like that. It backs up all of our major information for like any of the graphic design stuff or any videos that we've done or anything like that. So yeah, I highly suggest having a NAS or a backup drive or a RAID setup. That way there's no issues of one drive dying and then not the other or whatever it might be. So only issue I have with an H8, a regular hard drive, is that a Lian Li dynamic, there's no airflow on anything mounted there. So yeah, I agree with you, Robert. They're unbelievably fast. 500 gigabyte Sabrent PCI 4, then move back to the Intel. The Z490 will support it with 11th gen CPUs, though, just not yet. Yeah, I run into some of that issue as well. I'm running a Z390 Waterforce with an 8086K, and I had an Intel Optane drive in it, but it wouldn't actually recognize anything until you did one of the BIOS flashes, and then even after that, it would actually degrade one of my PCI slots, the same PCI slot that is actually used by the graphics card. So I said, the hell with that. I'm all set. I'm good. I'll just take the hit and get an external M.2 or something like that, which is a fantastic thing to do in case you guys... closure. If you guys don't have an M.2 slot on your computer, but yet still want to enjoy some of the speeds, but you have a USB Type-C, I highly suggest getting one of these, the Thunderbolt. Why the hell is that $170? Yeah, okay, anyways. Basically, what you're looking for is an M.2 enclosure. Make sure it's the one for NVMe, or if you have the other version, the SATA, make sure that it does work with both versions if that's the case. But get yourself one of these, and then get yourself a 500 gig SSD, and that's actually where I keep most of my Steam games. Just dump it right on there, and then you have a portable Steam game drive. You can just pick it up and move and go wherever you need to with it. It's kind of neat, kind of cool. Just a thought, but let's see here. All right, well, the last thing that I did want to mention is that Tarkov, if you guys are into Escape for Tarkov, they are doing drops. The reason that I bring up Pesley here, I wonder if they'll actually show it. Oh, of course, as soon as I hit this, it's going to drop out, isn't it? No, it did. It kept going. So Tarkov is actually doing drops, which means that you can actually get some stuff. You can get some items that will be added into your account, which is kind of cool. But they're also doing 24-hour streams. So I know that Pesley, Landmark, heck, if you look right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of the streamers that are just on the recommended channels here are actually doing Escape from Tarkov 24-hour runs, which is pretty cool. That game is the hardest game. The learning curve is just too sharp. It is unbelievably difficult if you're just trying to get into it. If you are coming from Call of Duty and trying to get into Tarkov, be prepared to die a lot. And I mean, not just like a little, like a lot. It's unbelievable. So that being said, if you guys are looking to get some of the free drops and the loot and stuff like that, you just got to link your Twitch account to your Escape from Tarkov account and watch one of the streams. And theoretically, if you log into your account, you may actually get some stuff. Who knows? You might get some of the guns and the ammo and stuff like that, but it'll actually be added into your inventory here, which is pretty cool. But again, they're doing 24-hour streams. It's definitely a good way to get some free stuff. Holy cow, Pestily. Jesus. The guy's got so much crap. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. But if you really want to watch somebody that knows what the hell they're doing, Pestily knows the game inside and out. It's unbelievable. Another good streamer that we like to watch is Deadly Slob. He does a lot of really, really cool stuff as well. But they're doing these 24-hour streams. Definitely something to take a look at and to watch. Definitely very, very cool. And it's a good way to learn, too. Well, the maps are difficult as hell. They have new, what are they, the Raiders? I don't remember what the heck they're called. But basically, if you're doing a night raid, there's these guys that are running around. They have no feet, so you can't actually hear them step, which has got to be unbelievable. And it's, like, they apparently just pop up randomly. Like, you'll be sitting there, you can't hear anything, and then you just see something run across your screen that's only like 15 foot away, and then they just stand there and look at you. But apparently what they have is they have they have like poisonous knives. So if you get stabbed with one, pretty much you have there's a counter. You got like 45 seconds or a minute or two to actually get out of the game or to get out of the raid. Otherwise, you're gonna die. I guess there's no real way to cure it and whatnot. So definitely bringing in some new tactics to the game. It's once you get into it and you actually play around, like we do here, it's a lot of fun. You get to just screw around, and that's actually more fun. Don't get caught up on losing stuff, because you're gonna lose stuff. You're gonna lose shit all the time. That's just the way that it is. So if you go in with $1 million worth of gear, expect to lose it, because it's not going to happen. You're not just... I mean, look at what he's running. Unbelievable. I mean, what is that? That's level 5. I think that's level 5 stuff. And then he's got night vision goggles. And unbelievable. So, too much. Too much stuff. But, again, he's level 48 already. And the wipe was, like, last week or something like that. So, some people are really... we call them sweaties. Really, really getting into it so bad. But if you don't play the game like that and you play it as just fun and it's a game, I think you'd enjoy it quite a bit. So let's see here. I'm gonna check the chat one more time, and then we'll probably call it quits for today. Thought Fix, currently on the mod site, window shopping for the first hard tube fitting tube set when I get my 3080 block. Well, when the 3080 block ships. Okay, so just a little bit of caution, food for thought. When you're doing your first hard tube run and first hard tube setup, buy extra tubing. If you think you need only 4, buy 6. If you think you need 6, buy 8. Because you're going to screw up. I can't tell you the number of times we're working on a build and getting stuff done, and then... you'd just be working on something and off against the wall is a giant piece of tubing that just got smashed because, well, it wasn't bent the right way. It happens, And so, to be perfectly honest with you, buy more than you think, and then if you do need extra, or you don't need it, then you have it for when you do want to do a different loop, or you want to add some more, or whatever it may be. But definitely buy more than you think, because... nobody's perfect, and it's highly improbable that you'll get it right the first time. Robert, no, always buy double. Yeah, see, spoken like a true enthusiast right there. I love it. Yes, no, Robert has been through all of the different versions of water cooling, from air cooling to AIOs to custom soft tube bends to hard tubing to everything. He's done it from start to finish, and I mean, speaking straight from the horse's mouth right there. So let's see here. It's a 10 700K and a 3080, so I don't anticipate swapping it for a hard time. It's time for my first hard tube loop. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Especially if you're content with what you have. Like I'm just not into the hard tubing, and it's really annoying to actually get it perfect. And because I'm so anal about it, I just went soft tube because it's easier for me. However, to each is their own. I think hard tubing looks way nicer when it's done correctly, but to be honest, I wouldn't do it. I would have Brony do it because, well, he knows what the hell he's doing, and he's done quite a bit more than I have. So, he thought fix. I intend to buy at least 4 more fittings than needed in case I slice O-rings, and at least 20% more tube than I need. But I could use advice on which brand tubes fittings. Okay. What we'll do here is we will talk about that quick on the ModMyMods website here. And we can talk about tubing and we can talk about fittings pretty quickly. Okay, so when it comes down to the stuff that we carry, for the most part, everything is mostly interchangeable. And now when I say mostly, Alpha Cool tubing will work with Baro fittings. The tolerances are not as tight as I would like them to be. So if you stick with, the one manufacturer, whether it be, Alpha Cool tubing with Alpha Cool fittings, yeah, okay, fine. You can get away with Alpha Cool tubing and Baro fittings. You can get away with Baro tubing and Alpha Cool fittings. They pretty much work, for the most part, hand in hand. There isn't really that big of a difference when it comes to that. Now, that being said, Thermaltake stuff, no, don't even screw with it. Thermaltake with Thermaltake, okay? Primo Chill, just throw it out. EK with EK, because the tolerances are different when you come to different manufacturers like that. But when it comes to Alpha Cool and Baro, for the most part, good to go. It usually is for the most part cross compatible, and will work relatively fine. I used Thermaltake tubing, 14mm worked great. Yeah, no, I honestly absolutely love the Thermaltake C Pro fittings. I know a lot of people don't, but I freaking love them. I think they're the coolest thing since sliced bread. And I use the 16mm, but I think that they work just as well as anything else, So Baro is relatively universal when it comes to water cooling, especially the fittings and stuff like that. Basically pick a size, whatever it might be, whether it's a 14mm, 13mm, or 16mm. I would definitely be, a little. I would pick one size and just go with it. If you want big tubing, 16mm, just go with 16. It's bigger, it's nicer, it's going to hold more fluid, it looks cool. If you want the thinner stuff, 13mm is fine. 14mm is kind of like that middle of the range, but might be a little bit harder to find some stuff that works with it. And 12mm stuff is also sometimes hard to find stuff that works with it. So, 13 and 16 is relatively universal when it comes to that. The 12mm is still available. We do still have it, but it's honestly a little small. I would still go 13 if I was going to do it. I wouldn't do 12. Let's see here. Use Thermaltake tubing, 14mm. Worked great. Worked fine for me. Okay, all right. Cormac, yes, I love the oh yeah, I do too. I love the look of the Fantex fittings. They are unbelievably expensive. Yes. It's kind of like Bits Power though. You know that they're just going to be expensive. Blech. And so like, just for cost's sake, I'm gonna go with the Baro stuff, just because it's a heck of a lot cheaper. That's just my 2 cents though. Robert says, one thing, make sure you deburr the tube and clean them with distilled water before setting them in place. Deburr is important when it comes to not having a leak. Yes, I couldn't agree with you more. I was trying to see if I had a deburr. Probably do. Hold on one second. Yeah, I got one of these crazy kits. Oh, hey, look at that. There's 2 of them there. Alright. That. Oh, God, that thing is heavy as hell. Okay, this is a deburrer tool. Here, let me go here. Boom. This is a deburring tool. And basically what it does is it allows you to take a piece of tubing, jam it on in the inside here, and deburr the inside and the outside. So it'll basically, one side is to chamfer the edges so they're not as sharp when they're going into the fitting, and the other is to chamfer the inside so it makes it a nice even edge there. That being said, deburring tools are like the best thing ever, and make sure that you actually deburr it. Don't, like, it's gonna sound awful. I can give you a demonstration. Hold on. Alright, yeah, cool. Alright, cool. As you can see, this one is pretty much, well, it's not cut straight at all in any way, shape, or form, but as you can see, there's like a white little edge that's around it. And what it is it's just super soft, and it's not not sharp on any way, shape, or form. Now on this edge, you can see that it's kind of a little jaggedy, it's a little sharp on the edges and whatnot. And basically what you'll do is you'll use the outside to do the outside of the tube, which, I'm sorry, take your headphones off if you don't want to hear this. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so that's what it's going to sound like. It's going to sound awful. It's like nails on a chalkboard. It sucks, but when you're done with it, it's going to look really, really nice. So I'm going to mute the microphone so you don't have to hear this. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is, now that I did the outside, which you can actually run your finger around the edge of it and you can feel it. You can feel how soft it is. And then you'll do the inside of the tube here to make the edge nice and soft for you. Yeah, that sounds awful. So I'm glad I was able to spare you from that. But alright, so when you're done, what you'll see is kind of like the bottom here that I've got. It's got this nice little soft white edge that's all the way around it. Obviously, I didn't cut that very well. That's why you got this like chunk that's missing there. But what you'll do is you'll start to feel that it's nice and soft all the way around the edges. And just like Bobby said, make sure that you clean these out. Obviously, you saw me, blow it out and stuff like that. Sure, but it's still not going to get all of the chunks that are inside of there out. And the reason that you want to get all of the chunks inside of there out is because if you have some of that goes into one of the fins on, say, your water block there, it's going to gum it up and it's going to completely, pretty much clog it. The fins on a water block are an extremely tight tolerance. So even just a little tiny, even just this little tiny crap that's on my finger here, that will gum up some stuff. There you go. Yeah, see all that crap in there? That'll gum up your system really quick. So do yourself a favor, get yourself either some pure water from ModMyMods or get yourself some distilled water, either or, but make sure you rinse these out before you use them, because it'll just be ugh. You don't want to have it put it all together, make it all nice, and then have to take it all apart again, just because, well, you didn't rinse out a frickin' tube, right? So that being said, definitely something to get yourself a deburring tool. You don't necessarily have to get this crazy one that I have here, the Alpha Cool one, because this one's actually, as you can hear, made out of metal, which is nice. I like it. I like the heavier one myself. However, Brony prefers the, I guess we'll call it the lightweight. This will be the heavyweight here, and the Borrow one that we have is the lightweight one. I'm pretty sure Alpha Cool makes a lightweight one as well. However, that being said, you definitely need a deburrer, period. Doesn't matter what size tubing, what type of tubing, what type of fitting, doesn't matter. You need a deburring tool in order to make this work correctly. So let's see here. I'll take your advice on Alpha Cool and Borrow, though I'm using EK Rads and blocks, and the Fantech Glacier are, yep, that's fine. Need to buy cutting and fishing bending tools. Okay. All right. So EK radiators are fantastic as long as they're not the aluminum ones. I don't think you can actually buy the aluminum ones anymore, so I think you're in good shape. Fantex Glacier R160 pump is pretty dope. I'm pretty sure that's the one that has like the little the thing, the reservoir thing together, which does look really, really cool. And I think that Alpha Cool and Borrow stuff will work just fine. Make sure that you clean stuff out before you actually use it. So I highly recommend getting yourself a Blitz kit, a Mayhem's Blitz kit, which I can show you here. You're going to want a Blitz. If you just type in Blitz with a Z, it'll come right up. Oh, well, shucks. We are apparently out of them already. I literally just boxed up a whole bunch of these and shipped them out. What I would do is I would sign up to get notified when this product is back in stock, because they freaking fly off the shelf like it's nobody's business. But if you get part 1 and part 2, part 1 is used strictly for the radiators and the radiators only. And then part 2 is used for the whole system. But make sure if you're doing part 1 that you use the gloves and stuff like that, because that shit's nasty. That is not good stuff for you. And follow the instructions. Mick at Mayhem's really knows what he's doing, so make sure you're following the instructions. You do everything, and make sure you don't use it on aluminum radiators. Right there, boom, big red letters. Do not use on aluminium. For those of you across the pond there. So, go for Hardware Labs radiators if you can find them in stock. They're worth seeking out, as the GTS are the gold standard for slim radiators. Yes. The only stipulation I say with that, Cormac, is that the Hardware Labs radiators need a shitload of static pressure in order to disperse the heat properly. So make sure you have fans that actually push enough air to put that to use. Otherwise, there's no point. It's kind of like... what's the other one? Damn it, why can't I think of it? There's another radiator that's out there that has super tight... I think it is Hardware Labs. That has super tight fin tolerances in between. The fin spacing in the radiator itself is unbelievably tight. So you need a really fast fan to actually push enough air to actually dissipate the heat, the amount that you need it to. So to actually have it be effective. So... just make sure you look out for that as well. I have 2 Hardware Labs. Yes, I was running a Hardware Labs radiator for God knows how long. It's fantastic. They really do. They know what's up. A little coolant on the fitting and tube when you insert them into the fitting too. Yes, that does work on certain items there. You can kind of get it to spin around and then get it to go in there. However... you'll figure it out once you screw up a few times, just like everybody does when they do their first water cooling loop or hard tubing. You'll start to figure out how to get it to actually work the nice way. So suggestion on Plexi PETG PMMA acrylic 2. I'm not going to do glass or copper. I have an apartment, not a workshop. I understand that. Glass is unbelievably difficult to actually work with, and doing bends on glass, I only will attest to one person, and that's Bleederhead, Aubrey, who knows, like, she figured out how to do glass bending and glass blowing in order to make it work, and to be honest with you, the amount of time, effort, pain, blood, sweat, and tears that lady did in order to get that to work like that, holy shit, no. I'm all set. I'm good. So I agree with glass. Copper takes a lot of planning, like the solid copper pieces. I have one over here. Like these guys here, the solid pieces. Those are very difficult to actually make work right too. Not only do you have to chamfer the edges, which is a lot harder than you'd think. Because you're actually chamfering metal instead of plastic, which is easy to just shave off. You have to plan this out quite a bit. And I know a lot of the 90-degree bends that we used to sell, we don't anymore because they were having issues with quality control. So I know that we do carry some of them. However, I know that it is it's hard to find all of it. Let me see if I can find it here. because it's from Alpha Cool. And the material is brass. Yeah, so we do carry some of it. But again, they're already pre-bent, and they're kind of a pain in the ass to work with, to be perfectly honest with you. You have to buy a lot more because all you can do is 90-degree bends. And you're not going to bend this and make it look nice. I can tell you that ahead of time. Just not going to happen. So, let's see. But when it comes to Plexi, PETG, PMMA, acrylic, typically we go with PETG. I'm pretty sure is what we use. I don't know, sometimes we use acrylic, but to be honest with you, PETG just works. It's easier to heat up. It's easier to work with. And I'm pretty sure. But again, I would have to talk to Brony, to be perfectly honest with you, because he's the one that actually does all of the hard tubing bends for pretty much any show build that we've put together. This one. Yeah, he did all those. So, I kind of leave it up to him. And yeah, he typically does the PETG, I'm pretty sure. So, let's see. GTSs are rated for like 800 RPM. I use Arctic fans. Yeah, Arctic fans aren't bad for $12. Yeah, that's not bad at all. I run many fans in 300, 800 RPM range with GTSs, Corsair, MLs, and now Arctic P12s and P14s. Yeah, so the MLs are pretty good. They push quite a bit of air. The P12s and the P14s from Arctic, which are like a great bang for your buck type of deal, definitely push enough air for those GTS radiators. That's for sure. But again, you don't want some late Yate-Loon garbage or some freaking, like super slim 800 RPM, no name whatevers. Yeah, you don't want any of that crap. So, but when you get to it, ThoughtFix or Hakwako or Cormac or anybody like that, if you guys ever need any sort of help, please feel free to reach out to us. Obviously, we got you on the Discord and stuff like that, and you can send us an email to support. You'll be able to talk to Brony or talk to me, and we'd be happy to help you out. Help you to, walk you through it, at least give you a little bit of education. That way you can make your own decision. And, again, just be prepared that things aren't going to go the way that you want them to, because, well, that's not how this works. And you'll learn from your mistakes, everybody does. But maybe we can give you a little bit of information before you get there so that we can, alleviate some of the headaches. So, yeah, it's been great. Yeah, not a problem. Not a problem, Hakwaka. And again, thank you everybody for being here this afternoon. I really do appreciate you guys coming out and hanging out. It's nice to see you guys. Again, we're gonna do just one stream a week on Tuesdays at 4 o'clock. Maybe we'll have the stream go a little bit longer, kind of like we did today here. We'll talk about some other things. If you have any suggestions or complaints or concerns, or just want to say hey, so like I said, send me a message, shoot me an email, whatever you'd like, and we'd be happy to see what we can do to implement it into the show or to make it better. I never had a build go plan, but working around the issues is half of the fun. It's kind of like troubleshooting, life doesn't work that way. Why should water cooling? Ain't that the truth? Well, again, everybody that's here in the chat and everybody that's joined us today, thank you very, very much. Hope you guys had a great new year. Hopefully this is a great start to 2021, and hopefully we can continue to bring you some good education, some fun times, and a great show for the rest of the year. So until next week, have yourself a wonderful rest of the week here, and Hakwaka, tell USPS to get their act together. You know what? If I had a couple $1 billion, I would just buy USPS and then fix it, because it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Hopefully your products will arrive on time, but if it's USPS, good luck. Who knows? But until next time, have yourselves a wonderful rest of the week. Stay safe out there. Happy water cooling. Hopefully you get lower temperatures and better performance, and we will see you next week. Take care.